This is a chapter from Awareness, a book by Anthony de Mello, chapter entitled Obstacles to Happiness. What I'm about to say will sound a bit pompous, but it's true. What is coming could be the most important minutes in your lives. If you could grasp this, you'd hit upon the secret of awakening. You would be happy forever. You would never be unhappy again. Nothing would have the power to hurt you again. I mean that. Nothing. It's like when you throw black paint in the air remains uncontaminated. You never color the air black. No matter what happens to you, you remain uncontaminated. You remain at peace. There are human beings who have attained this, what I call being human. Not this nonsense of being a puppet, jerked about this way and that way, letting events or other people tell you how to feel. So you proceed to feel it, and you call it being vulnerable. I call it being a puppet. So you want to be a puppet? Press a button and you're down? Do you like that? But if you refuse to identify with any of those labels, most of your worries cease. Later, we'll talk about fear of disease and death, but ordinarily, you're worried about what's going to happen to your career. A small-time businessman, 55 years old, is sipping a beer at a bar somewhere, and he's saying, "Well, look at my classmates. They've really made it." The idiot. What does he mean they made it? They've got their names in the newspaper? Do you call that making it? One is president of a corporation, the other became the chief justice. Somebody else has become this or that. Monkeys, all of them. Who determines what it means to be a success? This stupid society. The main preoccupation of society is to keep society sick. And the sooner you realize that, the better. Sick, every one of them. They are loony. They're crazy. You became president of the lunatic asylum, and you're proud of it, even though it means nothing. Being president of a corporation has nothing to do with being a success in life. Having a lot of money has nothing to do with being a success in life. You're a success in life when you wake up. Then you don't have to apologize to anyone. You don't have to explain anything to anyone. You don't give a damn what anybody else thinks about you or what anybody else says about you. You have no worries. You're happy. That's what I call being a success. Having a good job or being famous or having a great reputation has absolutely nothing to do with happiness or success. Nothing. It is totally irrelevant. All he's really worried about is what his children will think about him, what the neighbors will think about him, what his wife will think about him. He should have become famous. Our society and culture drill that into our heads day and night. People who made it. Made what? Made asses of themselves? Because they drained all their energy getting something that was worthless? They're frightened and confused. They're puppets like the rest. Look at them, strutting across the stage. Look how upset they get if they have a stain on their shirt. Do you call that success? Look at how frightened they are at the prospect they might not be reelected. Do you call that success? They are controlled, so manipulated. They are unhappy people. They are miserable people. They don't enjoy life. They are constantly tense and anxious. Do you call that human? And do you know why that happens? Only one reason. They identified with some label. They identified the I with their money or their job or their profession. That was their error. Did you hear about the lawyer who was presented with a plumber's bill? He said to the plumber, "Hey, you're charging me $200 an hour. I don't make that kind of money as a lawyer." The plumber said, "I didn't make that kind of money when I was a lawyer either." You could be a plumber or a lawyer or a businessman or a priest, but that does not affect the essential I. It doesn't affect you. If I change my profession tomorrow, it's just like changing my clothes. I'm untouched. Are you your clothes? Are you your name? Are you your profession? Stop identifying with them. They come and go. When you really understand this, No criticism can affect you. No flattery or praise can affect you either. When someone says, "You're a great guy," what is he talking about? Is he talking about me? He's not talking about I. I is neither great nor small. I is neither successful nor a failure. It is none of these labels. These things come and go. These things depend on the criteria society establishes. These things depend on your conditioning. These things depend on the mood of the person who happens to be talking to you right now. It has nothing to do with I. I is none of these labels. Me is generally selfish, foolish, childish, a great big ass. When you say you're an ass, I've known it for years. The conditioned self, what do you expect? I've known it for years. Why do you identify with him? Silly. That isn't I. That's me. Do you want to be happy? Uninterrupted happiness is uncaused. True happiness is uncaused. You cannot make me happy. You are not my happiness. You say to the awakened person, "Why are you so happy?" And the awakened person says, "Why not?" Happiness is our natural state. Happiness is the natural state of little children, to whom the kingdom belongs until they have been polluted and contaminated by the stupidity of society and culture. To acquire happiness, you don't have to do anything, because happiness cannot be acquired. Does anybody know why? Because we have it already. How can you acquire what you already have? Then why don't you experience it? Because you've got to drop something. You've got to drop your illusions. You don't have to add anything in order to be happy. You've got to drop something. Life is easy. Life is delightful. It's only hard on your illusions, your ambitions, your greed, your cravings. Do you know where these things come from? From having identified with all kinds of labels.